Hey Student Success, welcome to week 8, our very last week of the 8-week session. Depending on who's watching this, some of you might already be done, or maybe you started week 8 early and you're just checking back in to finish, because week 8 did open up early. It opened up Friday the 10th, and I actually had just, I think, 2 people so far finish up early by the time I'm recording this video. So week 8 runs technically from Monday the 13th until Friday the 17th. So our class ends on the 17th. It's a Friday. Everything is done that evening because I really wrap up grades for the most part throughout week 8 because a lot of people tend to finish that last week early. And then I start entering grades Friday night, Saturday morning. Excuse me. So please make sure that you are paying attention to that. It's in your syllabus that it ends on a Friday. It'll come out in the course messages. It'll be in the announcements. It's on the calendar. So it's all over the place that we are done on Friday the 17th. And that way also you can kind of be done with the semester the weekend leading up to our big holiday break. Okay, so for the very last time, your student services assignment is due then, obviously, by Friday the 17th. So please make sure that at this point, all the workshops are over. So if you happen to have attended one, you want to make sure that you upload that student services workshop assignment in that Dropbox. There's also a Dropbox for it in the week 8 assignment area. So you can Dropbox it there, or you can wait until you get down to week 8. So I'm going to scroll down. You can see week 8 is already open. So week 8 is covering 2 chapters, chapter 3 and chapter 9. And for this purpose, I really just rely on the textbook itself just to kind of walk you through some things. So chapter 3 is thinking about thought, like metacognition. What are your thinking processes? Are you aware of your decision making, your kind of perspective on things? What are your goals and where do you want to go when it comes to critical thinking and creative thinking? And how do you get there? And so this chapter is going to really be talking about the different types of thinking. And so this is going to go into like Bloom's taxonomy. If you're an education major, even if you're not, Bloom's taxonomy has been around a lot, but education majors tend to deal with this a little bit more. This is like different levels of knowing and how different types of assessments and course objectives and things like that rely on really all of these levels of Bloom's taxonomy, even though that phrase might not be used very common in your classes. You might be using assessments that you have to recall information, or you might have to analyze information. So you want to make sure that you know whenever an assessment says, hey, you need to analyze this. Well, what does that mean? So here's Bloom's taxonomy, a really good breakdown of what all of these different levels of knowing and demonstrating how you understand things. And this will go into detail as well with kind of some verbs that each of those areas are attached to. So that if you're asked to create, well, that could be because you are modeling, you're rearranging, you're revising, any of those type of things. So this is kind of like a more straightforward academic type of thinking. So I want you to be kind of just taking a look at that. Excuse me. The next type of thinking is critical thinking. So being able to kind of look beyond just the surface level, if you will, of what you're reading. And so how do you do that? So critical thinking is really important because we want to be more than just proficient thinkers. We want to go deep. We want to question. We want to look at different perspectives and viewpoints and be able to really evaluate that kind of information. And so this goes into a lot of detail about different types of critical thinking and some of the pitfalls that we might fall into. We want to make sure that we're not looking at things in a generalized point of view. We are not looking at kind of analogies that are weak. So this goes through all of those kind of pitfalls in critical thinking also. Excuse me. And I apologize if you can't tell, I'm home and my children are running around upstairs, running across the floor. So I apologize for that. Anyway, so this is just the different types of tips and areas in which you will have to conduct some critical thinking. I think now more than ever, we have to be really critical with our information because we get information from all these different sources. Sometimes maybe a lot of times online. And so really thinking about, is this credible? Is this, Why is this person qualified? Are they reliable? Where's this coming from? What's the purpose behind this writing? All of those types of things are really important at looking at text to make sure that you're getting the highest quality text you can, regardless of your purpose. So that goes into a little bit more detail about that as well. And then this section right here really focuses on like that online portion. Like if you're getting information from an online section, how do you know that it is worth your time? This next section talks about kind of that creative thinking, which your chapter 3 assignment is a creative thinking assignment. So this is going to kind of tie together here. So even if you don't think that you are a creative thinker, this is going to go through and talk about, well, first of all, creative thinking is not something that always comes natural to people. You can develop your creative thinking skills. And so this gives you those creativity tips. Try to read and feed your curiosity. Look at things from a flexible viewpoint. Look at different things, ways of doing things. So this will go into a little bit of detail. If you feel like, yeah, I could be, I guess, better with my creative thinking, these are going to be some tips to how to help you get there. This next section is about problem solving and decision making. And so really making sure that you are making the most thorough and informed decisions possible. So for instance, when you decided to come to Stark State, hopefully you went through some kind of decision making process. You really looked at kind of your options and your goals, and maybe you had a couple different solutions and you did the pros and cons. And so this is all about making sure that you really do take the time to go through and make these informed decisions. And so this section goes through kind of that decision-making process, not necessarily for our little everyday decisions, but for those larger decisions that hopefully you should be taking the time to really think through. All right, so that is chapter 3. And again, as always, I encourage you to go back through and really look at the sections that maybe pertain to you or you need the most assistance with, whatever it might be. All right, and then chapter 9 is the social world of college, which I think this is a little unique because we're not necessarily a community college. Sometimes people call them like the parking lot, campus parking lot schools, PCP, parking lot, classroom, parking lot, because oftentimes students do just kind of come to class, go home, and that's it. But there's a lot more going on at our school, and I'll kind of show you that here in a few minutes as well. But this is going to talk about the social world, and it also talks about like diversity. And so this section talks about getting along with others, which I know might sound strange at first because we're all adults. But as we all know, not everyone is easy to get along with. And you encounter that maybe for some people for the very first time, like in the college atmosphere, because you're faced with so many people of so many diverse backgrounds. And then when you get into the workforce. And so this section really talks about kind of how to go about that social interaction, meeting new people, communicating with people in ways that are going to be helpful, because not just verbal communication, but all the different types of communication go into, interacting with people in appropriate ways in different settings. So I would, kind of just advise looking through that and really taking a look there. Online social networking, the pros and cons of that are talked about in this section. So it's a lot of information going on here. Now we're at the end of our semester, so maybe hopefully you've found this balance. Although I always feel like with the start of every new semester, it's almost like you have to re-strike that balance, new schedule, maybe at work and your school schedule, they're both different. And so trying to balance all those things along with your social life are important to try to think about. We don't have a Greek life on our campus, and you're still welcome to read about that, but we don't necessarily have that directly impacted with us. So this is another section that I think no matter where we are in our life, we could benefit from looking at how to resolve conflicts, because we all have such different personalities, and what works with one person in one situation may not work with another in a different situation. And so this section might be helpful for you for that purpose. Roommate issues. Again, we don't have dorms here, but I mean, I'm married, I'm basically a roommate, right? So, or maybe that's your children, or, trying to get along with others. So there could be some applicable sections here for that. All right. And then the next section, again, this goes through kind of like different relationships. This next section talks about diversity and the importance of diversity, and how, again, oftentimes when we go into college settings, it's our first time that we are really faced with a lot of different types of diverse people. And when we say diversity, that could really refer to just such a wide range of things. And so here's like a whole list. oftentimes people think diversity and they think like what you can see on the outside. So things like our race or our gender or whatever that might be. But then you also have to think about like, what about our culture? Sometimes you can't really see, quote unquote, our culture based on what we look like, our educational background, our socioeconomic background, our age in some cases, sexual orientation, religion, all of these things that are not always necessarily able to be seen, which doesn't, they should or shouldn't be, but look at all these different ways we can be diverse and what does that mean? And so this section talks about those ways and then the benefits of diversity, really being able to see things from whole different perspectives and viewpoints and really kind of opening your eyes to the world that is larger than just maybe your area of your community or whatnot. So just taking a look through here and talking about all these diversity benefits and how to accept and celebrate diversity and how to kind of know how you are diverse and how that can play into your strengths. This next section talks about campus groups, getting involved on campus. Again, this is like the social aspect of college. So being able to be involved on campus. So if you, and I'm almost certain, again, I record so many lectures and teach face-to-face so often that sometimes it blends together, so I apologize. But I'm pretty sure we already talked about this. I'm just going to remind you real quickly. Under the Stark State homepage info for current students, we have a section here, so you can go down to student clubs, and there's a whole, oops, I didn't mean to open that, sorry. There's a whole list of student organizations, and we have over 50 student organizations here on campus, and you can go through and you can look, and some of them are just for fun, some of them are related to your major. Regardless, when you click on it, it'll give you a little description as well as who the advisor is and how to contact them. So this section talks about like, why would you? We're already so busy. What is the benefit? What's the purpose of joining a student organization? Well, first, some of you might not have a choice. Your program will say you are now a member of such and such organization. But not only that, it helps network. It helps build those connections with other people on campus. Maybe it helps connect you to an advisor who is in the field. And also there's a lot of research out of Syracuse, Vincent Tinto in particular, who says that students who are involved, community college students specifically, who are involved with campus organizations are more likely to not only graduate, but also have higher GPAs because you are connected to your campus. You have like a support built in. You're not just that parking lot student. You actually come and you have these connections and you have that support built in and you're more likely to retain and succeed. So there are a lot of benefits along with kind of building your resume and getting your foot in the door with other aspects of that. So this section talks about the importance and the benefits again of doing that. Okay, so now, and again, I encourage you to look at all the different clubs here. Let's go back and let's go ahead and get into our assignments. There are 2 assignments this week. 3 if you count the workshop assignment, which a lot of you have already submitted. So you want to make sure there's the other Dropbox for that. Please make sure you Dropbox your certificate if you have not done so already. So here are our 2 assignments. First one, Chapter 3 assignment. So you can see there are 3 parts to this. 3 parts. It says, first part, on your own. So just by yourself, quick little jot down. Create a list of 3 alternate uses for peanut butter. So 3 things that you can do with peanut butter besides its intended use, which is to eat it. 3 alternate uses for paper clips. The intended use is to clip paper. And 3 alternate uses for pen caps, which the intended use is to cap a pen. So you are doing 3 for peanut butter, 3 for paper clips, and 3 for pen caps. So 9 total, just 3 for each item. So you're going to create a list. What else could I do with peanut butter? What else could I do with paper clips? What else could I do with pen caps? Remember how I said you have a creative assignment? This is your creative thinking assignment. Now, it says gather a group of 3 or 4 friends. Okay, so I know we're still like in the midst of COVID. If this means you're going to Zoom real quick with people, if this means you're going to text a group of people, you're going to call a group of people, or you live with the people. I've had parents use their children before, and sometimes those are the most fun to read. I've had people use their own parents, whatever it might be. However you can do this, you're going to get a small group of people, and you're going to do the same thing, okay? Try not to replicate your ideas, okay? So if you already come up with something, say, you know what, I already came up with that for peanut butter. Let's think of something else. But you're going to come up and see, they're going to come up with 3 alternate uses for peanut butter, 3 for paper clips, and 3 for pen caps. Okay, so that's the two things, your own list and then a list that a group generates. Here's like the meat of it. Number 3, compare the results of the group with your own ideas and answer these questions. Did you generate more ideas or did the group? Meaning, were you able to go past the 3? Or maybe were you stumped after 3, or was the group stumped after 3? Did the quality of the ideas improve in the group? Were your ideas just okay and then the group was like fantastic, or vice versa? Were the group ideas more creative? Were they more innovative? And then which was more fun, your own list or the group ideas? And to help me really figure it out, go ahead and put some ideas inside your submission so I can kind of get an idea of what you were talking about. So you can certainly upload this as a Word document, or you can click into Chapter 3 assignment and you can hit under Write Submission and just type here. Or again, you can do a Word document and submit it. Okay, so that is your Chapter 3 assignment. Your second assignment is the Cultural Intelligence Survey. It is going to be like several other assignments you've had before. It's going to open up and you're going to push play. It's going to ask you some questions. When you're all done, you want to make sure that it fully hits submit so you get credit for that. There is no discussion forum this week. Both of these assignments are due Friday the 17th. Completing both of them counts as your week 8 attendance. Only completing one is 50% attendance. So please make sure you get both of those done by Friday for full 100% week 8 attendance. Again, workshop assignment is due, but that does not count for or against your week 8 attendance since that was all semester long. All right, if you have questions, please feel free to reach out and let me know. And I just want to thank you guys for a nice 8 weeks. I know online learning sometimes is tricky, so hopefully if you were new to online learning, you feel more comfortable doing so. If this was not your first online class, hopefully you learned something new, or interacted or learned a new resource. If you guys ever need anything, feel free to reach out and let me know, and hope you have a great holiday break. Bye.